I believe in you. You know the door to my very soul. You're the light in my deepest, darkest hour. You're my savior when I fall. And you may not think that I care for you, when you know down inside that I really do. And it's me you need to show. How deep is your love? How deep is your love? I really need to learn. 'Cause we're living in a world of fools.
Yeah, we are doing well.
When they all should let us be. You're the light to you and me. La-da-dee-da, la-da-dee-da, la-da-dee-da.
Ruth Kimau, you are well.
And you may not
All right.
for you when you know
Madam DJ, thank you so much.
And it's me you need to.
Jacinta, thank you so much, Madam DJ, for those wonderful gems. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing? This is the time you tell us how you are doing and how your day was by writing on the chat box. How was your day? What do you expect Brother Mwenda to talk about? Because this topic is very important. Generally speaking, it is one of those drivers of success and excellence. Tell us how you're doing and where you are. Where are you right now? I'm in South B, and I can't wait for Brother Mwenda to answer the questions of how to confront fear in the process of discovering oneself. I can see Mercy has said that was too quick. Moses Mwenda, I am in Meru. We were in Meru some other time. I think it was Lydia Mbaka. Good evening. Tuned in from Nairobi. Nairobi is too humongous. Where? Mercy Maskaranja, you say Nairobi, excited about this discussion. Very good. Let us have everybody saying where they are. Mercy is saying that I thank God my day has been great. Then we have, who is that? Alice Mbungu. I hope I've said that correctly. I am great. She's in Komarok. Komarok, thank you so much. Samson is saying is, where? In Uganda, Champala, where we have the source of River Nile, but the source of River Nile is in Jinja. Very good. Arafa is in Kampala, Kianja. We have Edwina. I think it is Dr. Edwina Otieno. She's in Kisumu. Judith Nyunja, she's in Naivasha, the place of flowers. We hope that you will send us some flowers someday. Ruth Kimau, I thank God, she's in Chogoria. Then we have Debbie. Debbie is in Bungoma, had a pretty busy day, but doing well. We have Japhet Alande. Wakili, yes, I am in. I didn't see where you are, but I guess you're in Nairobi. It's like I didn't see it moved very fast. Just me, Moihoko. The day has been fantastic. We have Florence Nyambura. I am well. I'm in Nakuru. We have who else? Alice Okuta. She is in Kawasukari. I had a fantastic day. We do not want to waste any precious minutes in this conversation on how to encounter yourself, and it is majorly how to overcome fears that are limiting you in realizing your potential. And we have an expert who is going to do it. But before that, I am Richard Magoma. Richard Magoma is a HR professional. I train people in public speaking and also wellness issues and also prepare people for interviews. But that is not the issue tonight. Tonight, we want to understand issues to do with fear and how to overcome them. Let us mention two of the partners who have made this discussion of Tuesday possible. We have K Squared, that is, it is in Rwanda. If you want to do consultancy in Rwanda, issues of HR in Rwanda, and of course it is spreading its tentacles into the East African region, which is a good thing. We need to synergize, we need to collaborate. But if you want to do stuff in Rwanda, you have to contact K2 so that you can be able to have a discussion. Then we have our very good friend who has been here for the longest. He helps people to discover their strong competencies, strength, gap strength. One day we should invite him to come and tell us how does he do it, because people are paid because of the potential they have, the competencies, the skills, and he's an expert. He has coached, mentored several professionals and organizations on how to build your potential. And I'm not speaking any other person about any other person other than Herbert Zakeh. If Herbert, you're around, you can send us a sticker to tell us that indeed you're logged in. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. We are going to invite our speaker tonight. Mwenda is one of those accomplished human resource business partners. In fact, when I read about human resource business partners, the person who comes into mind is my brother Mwenda. But of course, he is one of the newest book writers in town. He's going to tell us about it and what are the contents, how to get it. But tonight we are going to talk about how you can encounter yourself. I remember one of my good friends, the late Elizabeth Koki, we were having dinner and she asked me, Richard, what are your fears? I don't know what I mumbled, but I am sure Mwenda is going to help us clarify when somebody asks you, what are your fears, how you should respond. Karibu, Brother Mwenda.
Thank you very much, Coach Richard. I believe you can hear me.
Loud and clear.
Thank you very much. Allow me to share my screen.
The floor is yours, as people in debating club used to say. Or should I say the screen, the virtual screen, or the virtual floor is yours. Yes. Presentation mode. Meet Yourself Academy and unleash greatness in you. Yes, proceed.
Great. Thank you very much. Again, team, and very excited to be here with you. I believe that we will learn together. And thank you to Atara Solutions, Grace Nzula. Thank you, Coach, for having me here. We will start because I'm told that you don't want to keep people here beyond too much or way beyond 9. And therefore, we just move and look at this subject. What would you be if you confronted your fear? It should be your fears, because there are many. Each of us have their own share. And of course, we want to look at a few things. Fear is not the enemy. And we will see that how is that possible. Then the phases of fear. This time we will look at just 3 of them. Fear can have many phases than 3. Then, of course, we will look at how it shows up. Then how can we confront it? Because we must confront fear, definitely. And then we will see then how we can close this conversation. So for me, I look at this young professional in the office. And we picture this young professional in a busy office on a Monday morning. And she has an idea. I'm calling, I could have picked a she, but I think a he, but let's talk about a she. There's an idea, a brilliant one, that could improve how the team serves customers, how they could save time and reduce repeated mistakes. Definitely, she has seen the gap for months, and she even has a plan, a proposal in her notebook. But every time the meeting reaches any other business stage, A or B, her hand stays down. Now, not because the idea is weak, because for sure that idea is strong because it can help the business. But because fear has already started preaching to her, what if they dismiss it? What if they ask questions you cannot answer? What if they think you are trying to show off? So she stays quiet, the meeting ends, the team continues struggling with the same problem. And the tragedy is, the room did not reject her idea. No, it is fear that stopped her before the room ever got the chance to hear that problem. Now, many of us have tried, have tried this. My assumption is that we have found ourselves in this. We might have lived some versions of this story. It may sound familiar in the workplace, in our community, sometimes in family, in our family decisions, or even in our personal dreams. We have confused silence with wisdom. Sometimes we confuse delay with strategy. Yes, sometimes delay can be a strategy, but it is not good to confuse it, delay with the strategy that works. And sometimes we take fear as a caution. So what we call being careful can actually be the fear that we have learned to tolerate. So today, as we look at this subject, I want us to ask our questions. What part of my life as an individual is waiting for me to finally raise my hand in whatever room, in whatever meeting? What part of my life is waiting for me to say, I have an idea, I even have a proposal for it? Can we look at it and see how it can help our question, our organization, our department, our section? So fear is not the enemy. And as we continue, you can chat. What is it? You can just type. Feel free, feel vulnerable. Be vulnerable here. You can type one fear that has been making decisions for you recently. For instance, you're fearing, what if I fail? Just like this lady, this young professional. What if they am visible? What if they reject what I am saying? So fear is not the enemy. Fear is often misunderstood. It is not always a sign that something is wrong, but it can say that something needs to be done, because when I do this, then something meaningful, impactful, useful, and helpful to others is near. Yeah? So when we look at this fear, it can prevent something very, very critical that can be even an innovation. So what are the three phases that we need to look at this evening? And which one, out of these phases, which one has cost you the most? Fear of failure, fear of visibility. What if I mess up? Anytime, and I have been in this space many times. I have been in that space many times. What if I fail? But that question, if anytime it has come to my mind and I give it attention, and a lot of attention, I end up not trying what I felt strongly that I needed to. Fear of visibility. What if they see me and perhaps I don't want to be seen? I don't want to be noticed. There are times I have gone for functions and someone who doesn't want to be noticed, they even change their dress. Sometimes they wear shades, sometimes a cape, and they hide. Someone who should be at the front will sit behind because they don't want to be visible for whatever reason. What if they see me? Fear of purpose. What if I actually become who I am meant to be and perhaps I am not ready? So when we avoid difficult conversations or we stay small because being seen feels risky, you might be given a responsibility that you don't want. When we see this, what is it that this has cost us? Fear of failure. What is it that has cost me? What is it that has cost you? Fear of purpose. Yet purpose is very, very important because then it gives you peace when you're doing that which you came to this world to do, to accomplish. I have met people who are, when we discuss about who they are and they start becoming or seeing the picture of what they would be becoming, some of them have shed tears, others have been shocked and kept quiet post for a long time, wondering, you want to tell me that this is the giant that I am, who has never come out, who has been sleeping? How does this fear show up? How does it show up? Fear does not announce itself loudly. It often dresses itself as caution. Let me be cautious. Let's be cautious here. And if you want to do something and you are surrounded by people who are always telling you, tread cautiously, tread carefully, please differentiate between advice and sabotage. Because fear does not always announce itself loudly. Fear will dress itself as caution, perfectionism. I am very busy this time. I need to think about this more. Let me keep quiet because I don't want anybody to misquote me or misunderstand me. I want to please everyone. This is what I would say, if you overthink about something you want to do, but can you say in your heart, fear is not always trembling hands. Fear can come out as very, very strong hands. Something that looks so considerate and so believable and something so attractive, yet it is fear because it's not coming as trembling hands. Sometimes fear is the proposal you keep editing. My personal, let me say something personal, disclosure. My first book, Meet Yourself, I did that book for 3.5 years, writing this book. And I was actually not sure whether it was good enough to come out. I wrote and wrote, and to be honest, I did 720 pages. I kept editing, but never sending to my publisher to look at it for editorial touch. When I sent it finally, he couldn't believe, and he was asking me what I was writing. 720 pages. So we started now work. But what was there? Fear. So the proposal you keep editing, but you never send it, the conversation you keep postponing, the opportunity you keep admiring from a distance, or the dream you keep calling not yet. That is how fear shows up. How many people have had self-sabotage by allowing fear to take a toll on them? At work, for instance, fear may show up as avoiding honest feedback, or refusing visibility, over-explaining your own decisions, or staying in familiar roles. I have given people promotion letters and they have told me no, thank you, in the course of my career, because someone wants to stay in a familiar role. When you say yes to something that you need to set boundary, what is it that fear is telling you? If you are in a community, you may fear to show up when there is something that requires voice of reason in your community, fearing to talk and hiding your voice. When you shrink your contribution, then you deny the community, the humans and the humankind your contribution. When you shrink it, you are denying them your impact. Fear may show up as delaying action until conditions are favorable and perfect. If you compare your journey with others, or you remain loyal to an old version of yourself, and it is not asking you, it is not helping you, that is fear taking a toll on you. How then do we confront this fear? Now, when fear shows up, I would use this formula to confront it. What is this fear protecting? If I want to raise my hand to say that I have an idea, I have a proposal, I have tried this and it has worked. What is it that this fear, when I feel that I don't need to raise hand, I can see Mercy has raised her hand. Is she raising a hand or it is a mistake? Richard, you may find out. Okay, okay. She has lowered. Maybe it was a mistake.
All right.
Yeah, thank you. So what is this fear protecting? Number two, what would courage do here in this situation? If I confronted this fear, if I overcame this fear and took a step that I needed to, what would courage do in this situation? If you're able to see what courage would do, then finally you may find yourself overcoming the fear and going for courage. What do I become if I act? Or what do I contribute if I act? What problems do I solve if I act? Those questions will help me interrogate my reason for fearing and realize what fear is protecting is not as important as what I can become if I act. Let's look at this framework. So these steps, for 1 minute, just be active. You can just do it on a notebook for yourself. Name the fear. What is it? Fear has many faces. Name your fear. Each person has their own fear. Name it. Then ask yourself, what fear has been making decisions for me? Name all the fears. Then you check which one has been making decisions for you. And the decisions can be made because the fear is wearing different faces or dressing itself in a different way. So write privately and honestly, what is it that you want? Just one as an example. Then what we are looking at is that the moment you name that fear, it stops being something that is scaring. When you identify the decisions this fear is making for you, then you evaluate how important is this decision and what is it that I have overlooked? What is it that I have failed to achieve because fear has made certain decisions for me? So the outcome here, if you do this, is that fear becomes less vague. It becomes visible. And once it becomes visible, you are able to confront it because it is clear to you. Okay? What is it that is protecting? What is this fear trying to protect me from achieving? So the fear will help, this will help you. Once you do that, you name what is it that you are likely to not to achieve. It will help you understand the deeper need behind the fear and therefore address this need. Once you address the need, then it stops being an issue for you. You move forward. Number 3, identify courageous action. What is it that courage can do here for me? Once you identify what courage can do, then you are able to translate fear into practical next step and move forward with clarity. Then once you do this, look at who is emerging. What is emerging in you? Who are you becoming? Because you have been able to confront your fear after naming it, identifying what it is protecting, and taking the courageous action to address, to confront it. Who do I become if I act? You are able to connect your actions to identity and purpose. Whatever it is you're doing in your leadership journey, in your personal growth, in your community leadership, in your family, whatever you're doing in your social circles, you're able to connect action because it is clear who you are becoming if you act. Then the last one is you commit to one brave action. Now, this brave action, you can take it in 7 days, in 30 days, in 1 year, depending on the intensity of the action you're taking. There are actions you may take, and in 7 days, your system gets used to, and you make it your new normal. Yeah? So each one of you need to live here with a concrete commitment that this is what I have identified. This is an action I am picking. This is what I need to do going forward. I have identified my fear. They can be many, but just for this exercise, just look at what is it that you can commit to. 7 days, 1 year. I have confronted my own fears, and some of them I have worked for 1 year. There are others I've worked for longer. There are others that have worked for shorter period, 6 months, and making a routine out of it, where you prepare a routine that shapes your system, your mind, and you get used to it. It becomes your new normal, and then you follow that discipline. Fear is not the final barrier. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the doorway into the version of yourself that has been waiting to be met. What has made my journey of meeting yourself be very interesting is the discoveries I have been finding when I am talking to individuals. They are people who are actually fearing to sit down on their own and listen to themselves and see who they truly are. Many people will always find or be comfortable in noisy places. You're seated somewhere, you are just with people, and you're chatting, you're just making merry. But what I've seen is that when you sit on your own and start interrogating yourself, confronting yourself truthfully, who is Mwenda Itumbiri? What is Mwenda's strength? What can Mwenda do in this and that? What impact can Mwenda have if he did this and that? When you do this, you get into the version of yourself that has been waiting to be met. Once you meet yourself, then you are ready to meet the world. The greatest breakthrough you will ever have is when you truly meet yourself. Because I believe that the answer to who you could become is waiting on the other side of fear. And because the reason why you haven't gone to the other side is because you have tolerated this fear for too long. What would you be if you stopped being afraid? Who would you become if you confronted all the fears that are surrounding you or surrounding your decisions? Anytime you want to make a move, something comes dressing in a very attractive way, but it is fear. Who would you be if you stopped being afraid and if you confronted your fears? Thank you very much. Richard, you mentioned that I mentioned about this book. This book, Meet Yourself, is I don't really call it a book because it is a guide. Many people who have read it have told me that it is a very good invitation to step away from the crowd, from the noise we are talking about. And they have reconnected with the most important person in their lives, who is themselves. So this book is available on Amazon. It is there. Nuria Bookshop, it is there. You can also contact me on my pages and you will find it. The other book is, the second book is the Meet Yourself Journal. This is work I did this book for 1 year. 60 reflections for clarity, purpose, and intentional living, plus Mwenda's Finding Purpose Meet model. This is a model I have created to as a formula, because when I was doing the first book, I realized in the internet search engine, in 2022, over 3.5 billion people were doing searches, how to find my purpose. 3.5 billion. That's what I found when I was doing my first book. And I looked for, even in the internet, everywhere, what is there a formula to find someone's purpose? And I couldn't find. So I developed a simple model that can, with an acronym, MEET model. Yeah, so it is contained in that book. This one is going for 1,000 shillings. This other one is 3,000 shillings. And you can get them using these contacts. So Richard, we can look at we can take questions. I am done.
Very good. Very, very, very good. Beyond good. Ladies and gentlemen, let us appreciate Brother Mwenda for that insightful and very profound conversation. I am sure you are uplifted and there's something that you're going to do about it. I have seen a number of questions and observations. Let me look for those observations and then I will read them. Is Shelly Nabalayo? She has said, I'm loving this conversation. Alice, how do I overcome fear, especially when speaking in front of a large audience? I train people in public speaking. Probably we can get in touch with you. Me
Yeah,
and
I wanted to say that one is simple. Just talk to Richard.
Very good, very good. Let me look at... let me ask you, as I wait for questions to come, why is a framework important in understanding ideas? Why have you incorporated a framework in this conversation?
Thank you, Richard, for that. I like frameworks because they summarize your key focus areas. They give you a roadmap, and you're able to identify things that you need to deal with and how to deal with. Frameworks are important. And in my webinars and in my conversations, even in personal conversations, we come up with a framework. We look at how can we then, because we want to make something stick, something you're able to track your progress. Frameworks help you track progress so that you don't leave a place like this webinar and there is no action plan. Frameworks help you to develop very good action plans.
Very good. You are saying a framework is like a formula. It shortens your journey towards what you want to achieve. Now, there's a question that was asked. A gentleman, I think it's a gentleman, he proposed ideas to the organization, and somehow people within the organization, they sensed that he's trying to overshadow them, and they found a way of separating with him. And I'm sure there are so many people who encounter such moments. You have brilliant ideas, you want to raise up your hand like the young lady, but you are afraid of that. I know you know the 48 laws of power do not overshine your master. How do you overcome this? You have good ideas, but you do not want to overcome you do not want to exceed, or you do not want to outshine your master. That is your boss, your leader, your team leader. You want to manage your good ideas. So how do you manage this?
Let me say this.
Perhaps you can remove the slides so that we can also be able to see you as well. Thank you.
All right. I think yes, you can see me.
Yeah, very good.
My response to that, you can chase someone from an organization, or you can fight someone until they leave an organization. But I can guarantee you force me to go out of the organization, but you cannot remove the ideas, and you cannot remove the fact that I had an idea that I am going to use elsewhere to succeed. So when it is like when you're trying to you find a tap is giving water to people, and you decide to uproot the tap, but the reservoir, the source, is still there. So it is a bad way of handling this. And what I have realized is if you realize that your boss is threatened, or they feel like you are trying to overshadow them, you learn to work with your boss. There is no way someone can succeed without working with your boss, even if they are as bad as the devil himself. If completely there is no way of working with them, I normally advise people, rather than compromise who you are and you kill your innovation, you look for a way to exit. That is what I advise. And I don't even mince my words. If you cannot, if for sure you feel that there is nothing I can change here, and let me give you an example, personal example. In 2008, I joined an organization in July, and I went to start a HR department. That organization didn't have a HR department, but it had someone who was pretending to be HR, but they were not HR. When I went there, I looked at the problems that organization had, and I was sure I would make a change. Immediately, when I did my first policies and the board approved the policies for us to set a department, my colleagues in the management committee started fighting me. And I started gaining a lot of attention because of the changes I was bringing. I did a survey, which was 48% employee engagement, 48. Within 3 months, it had moved from 48 to 64, just by creating channels of communication and involvement. But the fights were too much. So what I did, in 10 months, I had given my resignation and I left. 10 months, I did not last for a year in that organization because the environment could not allow me to make an impact. So I advise people to just exit if you cannot. If there is nothing, you can't make any change, because if you're giving an idea, it doesn't go through, just leave.
Very good. I agree with you that sometimes it is good to synergize, to collaborate. In fact, one of the greatest books that I've ever read, it is the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which I think you know. And it recommends that if you want to succeed, if you want to be highly effective, learn to synergize, learn to collaborate. We have a question by Ernest Endubu. I don't know if I've said it correctly. Is fear weakness? The other one is by Yoweri Magamba. He's saying, when is fear positive?
Fear is positive, and this is funny because when you're walking in the park and you see a lion, what is it that makes you run away? You're running for you're actually trying to save your life. So fear can be positive. Fear can be when you confront your fear and ask yourself, what is this fear protecting? What is it? Because if you identify that this fear is protecting this and that, whatever it is protecting, is it beneficial to me? If what that fear is protecting is beneficial to you, then that fear is positive. If that the fear you confront, because you have to face it, you identify, name the fear. If the fear is protecting is not helpful to you, is not good for you, then that fear is negative. So fear can be positive and fear can be negative.
Very good. There are occasions where you should fear. For example, you should fear a snake. You should not fear. You should not fear going for your purpose. That is when fear becomes positive. What is purpose? It is a concept that coaches and trainers like putting around. What is a purpose?
Purpose can be different things depending on where you are, but I like talking about personal purpose because that is where I thrive. That is actually where my space. Purpose is your reason for existence. Why you are on this earth. What is your assignment? The assignment that gives you satisfaction, benefits you, and more so benefits others. Purpose is internal, but purpose is validated externally by the impact it is creating.
Very good. I love that response. There's Eunice Otieno. She is saying that sometimes when you speak your mind, people consider you arrogant. How can you deal with this?
There is a thin line between confidence and arrogance. When you speak your mind, you are being authentic. What I advise people is that as you speak your mind, your choice of words will make people respect that you're speaking your mind or feel that you are arrogant. So it is always to have to look at the audience, understand your audience, look at your tone, look at the choice of your words as you speak your mind. Actually, I am known to speak my mind in every situation. But the way I choose my words, sometimes people may not even realize I have spoken my mind. They realize later. So it is how the approach you give it.
I agree with you, Mwenda. Even in public speaking, I tell people that your tone can easily disrupt the meaning of what you are saying if your tone is not well aligned to what you want to achieve. Also, it is good to calibrate your tone, even if you
Correct.
are speaking your mind. If you load your free mind every other time without taking care of tone, courtesy, which is one of the 7 C's of communication, it will dilute whatever you want to put across.
Yeah.
What are the challenges of writing a book? for those people who want to write a book? For those people who are procrastinating.
Okay. That's a good one. That's a good one. One of the things, and this is one of the ways we talked about how fear shows up. Fear will show up as a busyness. I am very busy. Where I work, I can't get time to write. But if you can get time to eat, you can get time to write. If you can get time to think, you can get time to write. But challenges, I have seen challenges. Of course, that journey I am now, there are quite a number of lessons I have learned. I have helped a few people who are now writing their own books with my advice, and I have really enjoyed advising people because I went through a very, I would say a very difficult season, because my first book came out of production at a cost of 2,600. But right now I have known a lot, and anybody who wants to write a book, I can advise so that you don't go through what I went through, because then it can make you get discouraged. Of course, the publisher also matters in writing a book. The guidance you're receiving, there is ghost writing, there is you writing, and then asking someone to help you edit and do layout, because those things you may not know if you haven't been in that space. So I am happy to give free advice so that we can have more others. Actually, you, Richard, you need to have written 5 books by now. I know you.
Very good. I appreciate that motivation. I think by this discussion, I think I should put my foot down and stop procrastinating and put at least one. How do I help a leader who does not believe in coaching to be a leader, but he is always making mistakes, but you can't tell him in fear of being sidelined or losing? That is an anonymous. I think it is somebody who is a leader, but they're making a lot of mistakes, but because of fear, you will not help, but you are itching to help. How do you do it?
You see now, the reason why we had a confrontation framework, it is actually, you see, you want to help, but you are fearing. The question is, what can go wrong if you took a step of helping? For me, I look at, and I have been in that space, Richard, many times, especially in my role, where I can see if we go this route, we will make a mistake either as a company, as a department. And I ask myself, if I advise here, what is the worst that can happen? If I keep quiet, what is it that I'm gaining? What is my contribution? I'm shrinking my contribution just because I am fearing the consequences of of what I'm doing. Again, the way you package your advice to someone who is senior matters a lot. It becomes a doorway to how the reception of your advice. So you can even package it that you think that for us to have leadership that is quality going forward, we need to institutionalize. Institutionalizing coaching can help our leaders. When you do that, then you can have an entry point, and that can be appreciated. And when the coach comes to coach the leaders, the person you wanted to be coached is part of the leadership. Confront the fear and ask, what is it that this fear is protecting? Is it my job? Is it my position? Is it the peace I need? And can I compromise it for the better of what I need to see? Yeah.
Very good. Thank you very much. When you mentioned the concept of shrinking oneself, I remember that famous quote of Williamson. I know you know it. Who am I to shrink myself? I think I cannot quote the entire bit of it, but I think you know it. How do people shrink themselves, and how should they overcome that habit of shrinking themselves?
One way, especially in our workplace, because I believe here many people are Either you are in business, it is your workplace, or you are in a corporate setup, it is your workplace. One way of shrinking yourself is when you do not do what we call self-development. Ensure that in an area where you have been given an assignment, you become an expert there. Become an expert so much so that you cannot be ignored. That is one way of avoiding shrinking yourself. Then when you have an idea, do proper research. Don't rush to give it. Again, because if you're not ready to present it and you have not considered other aspects of that idea, you may be asked one question and it makes you feel like you are stupid, or you are trying to show off and you are not ready, and that can immediately injure your confidence and make you not progress. The other way is when you see opportunities, don't shy away from going for those opportunities, but you must prepare yourself, because preparedness is what attracts opportunities. You must always be prepared so that when someone wants an idea or your thoughts, especially when you hear your boss telling you, do you have a minute? Can I pick your brain? Can I share some thoughts with you, and I hear what your views are? You're in the right place, you're in the right direction. But you must ensure that you continue learning and relearning.
You're quite right. There's a quote, and most of the attendees know it, that the illiterate of the 21st century are not those who cannot be able to write. They are those who cannot be able to unlearn, relearn, and do things that are related to learning. There's something that you mentioned, and I really liked it, and most people tend to miss it. The role of data. You went and researched about something, and you got some data. What is the role of data in overcoming the idea of fear?
Yes. You see, when you have data, when you present data, data will give an opportunity for decisions that are driven by facts, by data. And when you're presenting something, you have data. Even those people who fear presentations, when you just present data, sometimes you don't even need to talk. Every fear you had disappears, because people start saying, aha, this is very good, because you have data. It's not stories. So when a question comes, you just refer, this data says this, and these are the insights this data is telling us. This is the story it is telling us. How do we address this? For instance, if you find in our place, by June, people have exhausted their leave, or by December, none of them has gone on leave. Now, if they have exhausted their leave, by June, it means people are disengaged. They just want to be away from the workplace. Those could be insights. If people are still, they have their full work days, then you're facing a serious burnout crisis, because it means people are not resting, or they are disappearing from the office without filling the leave application. So data gives you confidence and dispels fear.
Thank you very much for that response. I also remember you mentioning there are occasions where we think that we are being prudent, we are being cautious, but that procrastination is the hallmark of fear. How do we notice that this is not caution, this is just plain fear?
You see, there's a rule I mentioned that we call touch once. Touch it once rule. Touch it once rule is when when something is brought to you, whether a decision you need to make, a document you need to review, and if you touch it once, it means looking at it, the person who came for help, you immediately pick a decision either based on policy or based on what the practice is, and giving them direction, and they leave. Or you look at it and realize this is in time management, it is urgent but not important, then you can delegate that so that someone else will handle it. So you either execute, you either delegate, or you delete. Delete means that this has no, there's no value. This one I completely delete. Or you defer because there is information you need. So I use the rule of execute, delegate, delete, or defer. That will solve the problem of procrastination.
Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, it is your time to give Brother Mwenda your flowers, as we call it these days. And I can see a question by Christina Mbai. I do not know whether, Christine, you mean artificial intelligence. If it is artificial intelligence, I can see Mercy Macau is around. You can get to talk to her. She's our HR specialist in issues of artificial intelligence.
Richard?
Yes.
I can see someone asking for Mwenda's contact, so you can post it. I'm not sure I am able to post it.
Okay, let me do it.
Yes, then Japheth is asking a question. Arrogance is how you say it. Do you say I speak truth to power? Speaking the truth to power requires emotional intelligence? Absolutely. Emotional intelligence will make you get into places that your academic and other qualifications may not get you. So if you combine emotional intelligence with other things that God has given you, whether your qualifications, your credentials, emotional intelligence can open very serious doors. How you say things and how you approach people.
Thank you very much. What don't you want the attendees to forget? People forget things very fast, but what is it that you do not want them to forget at all in overcoming fear or confronting oneself?
Do not let fear make you not find or meet the best version of who you are, and make you not to get where you need to get.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I can see my good friend Paul Mbata has shared the link to the Get It Right platform. You can join so that you can be getting information on various events and discussions. Thank you very much, Mwenda, for finding time to come and demystify the concept of fear, that fear is not the enemy. We should fear but do it anyway.
Yeah.
We should fear but do it anyway. We fear that the editor is going to criticize our book, but present the book.
Yes.
Yeah, present the book. Thank you so much. God bless you. Good night. See you on Tuesday. Thank you very much, John Thiong, for coming. Thank you very much, Mercy Macau, Shelley. Thank you. CS Alanda, thank you very much for finding time. Rebecca, Patricia, Mercy Karanja, Rebecca Kimau, thank you so much for creating time. Prescovia Nalumanzi, I think that is from Kampala or Jinja or Masaka. Thank you very much. Asante sana, that is Anne Joseph. Lilian Mbuthia, thank you very much. Judith Nyunja, thank you very much. Gashoka Rose, thank you very much for creating time. Catherine Kiende, thank you very much for finding time to come and listen to Mwenda giving us his input on how to confront oneself. Thank you very much, George. Yes, thank you very much. See you on Tuesday when we will have another topic that is quite informative as well. Joshua Simiyu, asante sana pia. Merci beaucoup. Regina Njenga, thank you very much. Alice, thank you very much. Sandra Subo, thank you very much for finding time. Asanteni sana, usiku mwema. Make sure you join the group. The link has been shared. Moses Gwenda, thank you very much. Fena Umgala, thank you very much. Sawa sawa.
And I might never know. I used to say